Opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the staff or management of KLAV.
The sport of radio control racing has swept the nation, and Vegas RC Raceway is proud to present the first radio show in the nation to cover this rapidly growing sensation. So, without further delay, your hosts Eric Flynn and the Big Shane bring you Radio Control Race Chat.
And welcome to the show, guys. How's it going? This is our first show of RC Race Chat. I'm here, and this is Shane.
Hey, how you doing?
And this is our show on RC car racing and the hobby in general. We, lots to go on today here. Shane, what do you think we got going on?
Well, we can start off with our introductions of ourselves and what we're all about and what we have to offer.
Wonderful. Well, first off, this is brought to you by the Vegas RC Raceway, which is the track 3420 North Rancho. We have an off-road clay track where we do lots of racing, practice, family-oriented stuff. Shane, how did you come in contact with the shop?
I came in contact with the shop. I think originally you came to me, actually, either via email or I think it was a Silver State race that we were racing. And you wanted my opinion on some maybe track design or whatever you had going on at the time. And came to me and asked me if I'd like to come down and check out the facility, and I said, sure, I'd love to. You're 5 minutes away from my house, and maybe I can give you a few pointers on what to do since I helped out building the Silver State layout and helping with the Sin City group that's here in town, local Las Vegas RC car racers. And we got together. I came down, and we met and had a wonderful time together, I guess. And
Indeed we did. And first off here, before we get in too deep, you guys can email us at rcracechat@gmail.com for any questions you have about the show or anything you might like to hear in the show. Also, the number here where you can call in if you have any questions is 702-731-1230, or the toll-free number is 866-820-5528.
Also, you told them about the website, the VRCR.com.
Besides being on the radio station here, it is indeed streamed live on www.thevrcr.com. And after today, it will be archived where you can get it from there, and you can also get it from iTunes. So starting down the list here, a little bit about ourselves. Shane, why don't you start off on how you got into the hobby?
Well, I was probably 18 years old, and at the time I was racing motorcycles and stuff, and someone brought an old gas-powered RC car out to the motocross track. And I said, where can I get one of those? And they directed me in the right way and said that they had one for sale, actually, and I bought one that day. And put it out there on the motocross track, and I broke it first time out. And it took me about 3 days to fix it and got it back out there again. And
that can happen.
Got it back out there again and started rocking it on the motocross track, and then, out in front of the house and stuff like that, up and down the street, got all the neighborhood kids involved. And what's this? What's going on with the nitro RC car running up and down the road? People would come out of their houses and just to see what's going on.
Yeah. Huh? Now, did you have other people in there with you that wanted to do it too?
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
It's pretty much as soon as I got it, it seemed like the neighbor wanted to get one, and my buddies wanted one. And where can I buy one of those? And there was a hobby store probably 15 miles away from where I was living at, and that was the only place in town to go get stuff at the time. And we made a little trip out there and probably bought everything off the shelf and brought it back home and started building our cars and making them go. And just after that, started making little jumps and stuff out in front of the house, and it's progressed a lot more since that time.
Indeed it has. Yeah. So how long after you started there did it take for you to start making it to the RC car track?
Well, we started, there was a guy I grew up in San Diego, California, and there was a guy that had a track in El Cajon, California. And we went over there, and he had a little driver stand and stuff like that, and we would go there during the week. We would meet there, probably about 10 of us. We would meet up and just run these cars around his track, and we'd create, havoc for the neighbors and dust bowls and stuff. But we would meet there. We would meet there like once or twice a week, and basically run our cars until we were out of fuel or until somebody broke, and then after that, it's now progressed to where we don't run really all the time, mess around in people's backyards except for my own.
Yeah, now it's strictly track. Huh?
Yeah, now
Strictly
it's strictly track, and a lot more money is spent on these things, and I travel to a lot of big events. Last year I did Nitro Challenge. I did the Reedy Race, which was in.
Now all those races are in California.
Yeah, a lot of those races are in California. The big races are. But there's also bigger. The Nitro event that I went to, the Nitro Challenge, was in Whitman, Arizona, I believe it's called, and it was at the Nitro Pit, and that was one of the first major events that I've ever been to, and that was I did that 3 years ago, and that was the biggest thing I've ever seen.
Going to that event there for the first time, being your first big event, that was pretty stressful, or did you feel right at home?
No, it was definitely stressful. I mean, there was over 600 entries at this event, and besides the little local club races here in town, I never have gone out of state to race my RC car, and going out of state, you got to bring everything with you. I didn't know what kind of what was really involved with going to a big event,
right,
and what would really happen. And I was pretty fresh to the sport. I probably had about 5 club races under my belt at the time.
Yeah, that can be rough. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I didn't know, but I knew that 600 other people would definitely know or lead
going
me
on and help you out.
Lead me in the right direction.
Now, did people go with you to give you a helping hand, or did you kind of figure it out yourself?
No, we had the whole Sin City crew at the time. We all went together, and we made a little trip out of it. And there was probably about 6 or 8 of us out there, all from Las Vegas, and met up out there. And most people stayed in hotel rooms. I think at the time I had the luxury of staying in an RV, so I was right there at the track.
Wanted the full experience.
Yeah, wanted the full experience. I never had to leave. I just stayed there for a whole week. It was a week-long event.
Now, did you get in a lot of practice before the actual racing started, or
yeah,
was it...
there was a full day of practice, and then everything else after that goes into qualifiers and then stuff.
And how did that first race come out? How'd you do?
I did pretty good. I need to go back into my notes here and see where I finished, but I don't think it was at the top of the list at the time. I did fairly well as a sportsman.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, after that, I'd imagine you went to quite a few more races after that. It didn't stop there. That kind of ignited the fire to keep you going. That
did ignite the fire, along with the local stuff that we had here in town at the time was the Sin City track that was in Boulder, off of Boulder Highway over there.
Which you got pretty involved in that as well.
Yeah. Me and Brandon Pitt started that off, and not started it off, but kind of continued making sure that everything was taken care of and the track was good. And now it's not so much the same anymore. And now I'm trying to focus more of my stuff on indoor. I like being out of the elements, that's for sure. And
it's a lot better than getting windblown out there, getting sunburnt, huh?
Yeah.
Being a cool place where you can focus on what you need to do.
But definitely the outdoor stuff, it lit the fire under my belt and made stuff happen for me, and really got me addicted to it, especially running the gas at the time. I loved it. Yeah.
It's the gas stuff is certainly exciting. That's the smell and the sounds and everything. I bet it's something you'll always remember.
Nothing else really compared to that at the time. I rode motocross as a kid and into my adult years. And so many injuries and being weeded up on the couch for a couple of months wasn't any fun. Yeah. And I think that's where the RC cars really took over and kept me, interested in racing.
Right. And through the years, I imagine it kept you out of trouble.
Yeah, it did, definitely, because on the weekends now, especially, I can't really do anything during the week but to prepare for the next event that's coming.
Right, absolutely. And now being a father and having a family, you got a little one there. You're trying to get her into the hobby, see how she likes it.
She just turned 2, and I found her stealing my remote control the other day and going in the backyard and taking my car back there. And she said, "Summer drive."
Well, that's good. That's real good there.
We'll have her down at the track soon. Very soon. I think next week, actually. So.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, we have tons of kids that come down to the track with their parents, their mothers and fathers, all driving out there. They're having a good time. Definitely a family-oriented place. A little bit about myself now. I started messing around with the RC cars, the electrics, no nitro, like Shane here, when I was about 10 years old, and got a little Traxxas stadium truck and started messing around.
That was your first car ever?
That was my first car ever, was the Traxxas, and put that thing together and spent all night doing it. Thought I was pretty awesome. Got out to Western RC, which is now closed, but they were out there by the VW junkyard off of Blue Diamond there.
Yeah.
And
that was there before the Boulder City track.
It
or
was.
Not Boulder City, but the soccer field track by Sam Boyd Stadium.
That's right, Silver Bowl. And this track, Western RC, was out by the VW junkyard, and the races were in the evening, so never being in this environment, you drive out this long dirt road, and it's real ominous. You don't know what's going on, and you see all these cars somewhere like you found a secret hideout. And here's this whole group of people.
Junkyard bashing.
That's right, junkyard bashing on the track. And all these people have the same interests as you. And you get out there and got all my stuff plugged in, and my wires were all tangled up. I didn't know which way was up. And, get into the race, and the buzzer goes off to start, and I didn't make it 10 feet, and I crashed and ripped the front end of my truck off. And I knew that this was for me. So after that, I moved up to a little bit more durable vehicle. And I raced at Western there for quite a few years. And then from there, during that time, went to some of the big races at the time, when Cactus Classic was pretty fresh.
Yeah.
The Reedy race was fresh, so doing some of those as a young kid, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, doing that stuff really had me focused on that. So I didn't have time to go out and play a whole lot, but I spent a lot of time messing with the RC cars.
So what was your car after the Traxxas? What did you have?
After the Traxxas, I moved up to the original, the RC10.
The RC10
the
GT?
buggy.
Oh no,
the buggy is electric. So it was the buggy. And
gold pan chassis.
Yeah, the old gold pan. I thought that thing was the most futuristic thing I'd ever seen in my life. And boy, I'll tell you what, when you look at one now, back at how it looks looks like an old beer can.
They had that design out. What was it? 15, 20 years they kept the same. Well, they had the B3 or whatever, right?
Well, originally they had that original RC10, and it stayed all the way until about 94, and they came out with that B2. Yeah, and when the B2 came out, it looked like a spaceship, compared to the first one. The first one was real clunky and silly looking. So then I had that for a while, and it did pretty well. And then I ended up moving up to the Low C, the Double X, and the Double XT at the time, which were great platforms. And had a lot of fun with those. Had great time racing, lots of good memories. It's a lot of good fun.
I think my first electric car ever was from Radio Shack, actually.
Oh yeah,
I hate to say that, but
well, that's one thing especially new listeners might not be aware of is you have your Radio Shack radio control cars. Your ones that you drive once and the wheel falls down the storm drain.
At the time, we would charge batteries all night long, and they were $100 a piece for their old nickel NiCad packs. And you would charge it all night long and probably get 4 to 5 minutes of runtime out of it if you didn't break.
Yeah.
And now the technology has gone so much further to where you can almost run for an hour. 45 minutes.
Right. Yeah, it's gotten so different. Like you said, all night staring at your charger plugged into the wall.
Yeah, wishing you can run tomorrow.
Wishing you could run tomorrow, but not quite. You've got a week to wait while that thing ticks away. Then you get into it and pop it off the curb and it falls apart. But these are the ones that we're talking about here in the show are the hobby grade RC vehicles, and these are the ones that you can tune up. You can change the shocks, the setups, and all that kind of stuff. And in later shows here, we're going to get into all the setups and what you need to do to make these things haul buns. But
this is our first show, so
yeah, we're just trying to get a little
we
intro
need some
going
callers
here.
And get the intros going.
Absolutely, yeah. If anyone here wants to call in and talk about your first experience with RC cars, we'd love to hear them. Again, the number is 702-731-1230, and the toll-free number is 866-820-5528. Also, the email is rcracechat@gmail.com. If you want to send an email there, you can do that, and that can be about future segments or anything you might like to hear on the show.
Yeah, call in and let us know what you would like to talk about or what's going on in your world with RC cars. Or if you've never even heard of them and this is your first time hearing about them, let us know what you think. Let us know, what your questions are, and maybe we can help out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And on to our next little section here, we figured we'll talk about the Vegas RC Raceway, which is the track that I own. Again, it's on 3420 North Rancho, just north of Cheyenne on Rancho, directly across the street from Sonic, who has great tater tots, by the way. I do enjoy those.
You seem to go there every day.
Every day. I do indeed, as my shape would dictate. I was out of the hobby for quite some time there after my early teenage years, and about 2 years ago, I got back into the hobby. Have a daughter of my own now, and I thought it'd be something great for us to do. So I went down to Hobbytown. Chuck down there at Hobbytown takes great care of everybody, and they helped me out, told me what was new, what was back in style, and got me set up with the short course truck. So
Hobbytown pretty much started me off with the racing as well. We started racing on-road cars there, and that really got me into it. And then I wanted the off-road stuff.
Oh,
and that's
absolutely,
when I started going to Silver Bowl.
Hobbytown was the start of it all for a lot of us guys that have been into it from when we were younger. You go in there and ask your parents to get your goodies for you and stock up and go home and put it all together. But yeah, Chuck and those guys down there got me set up real well, and I went to the indoor track in town, and I was having a good time. And several months went by, and I decided, what, I think I'd like to do this too. But looks like we have a caller here, Joe. Joe calling.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How's it going, Joe? What's up?
Not too bad. Congratulations on the radio show.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to hear from you.
Hey, I wanted you to go a little bit more over what are the benefits of the all clay track that you guys got there at the VRCR.
Well,
what's the difference between that and a dirt track?
Well, the difference between a dirt and a clay track is typically the first most noticeable thing is on the dirt tracks, they're real dusty. If you try to put a dirt track indoor without some type of sugar water or something on top,
it tends to fall apart and get dusty and loamy and not as much grip as the clay track is. The clay track is definitely a lot of traction. And you don't have to really fight your setup. You already know what's going on when it's a solid base.
Yeah, the clay seems to pack down a whole lot better. It's the traction is unbelievable, and it's consistent traction. For people that don't know traction, just how well your vehicle grips on the surface. That's definitely the way to go is clay. It can get a bit more pricey than traditional dirt.
Oh, for the dirt to get into the track. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking big bucks there.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions, Joe?
Yeah, the other question, I'm a family guy. What would be the best way for a family to get into? I know it can be an expensive hobby, but if somebody's looking into this to make it a family type thing, what's the way to go to get a father and his kids into a sport and kind of keep it affordable for a family?
Well, the best thing to do is come on down to the Vegas RC Raceway. We have a full fleet of rentals available, so even if you don't have deep pockets from the beginning, you can bring your children down, your whole family, their friends too. We have rentals available. You can get those pretty affordable there without the membership that I offer. It's about $30 for the admission and the rental, and that's for all day. And, you can see if it's something that you and your child enjoy. And if it is, you can purchase a vehicle through myself. I have a fully stocked pro shop, all the hottest brands available, And one nice thing about renting and then purchasing from the Vegas RC Raceway is that if you do decide to purchase, I take the price that you paid for the rental and I deduct it from the purchase of the vehicle that you choose. So it's a nice savings there.
Cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Definitely
I didn't
a
even
nice
know
feature.
that you did that.
Yeah, it's something that I've always done for people. If they rent and say, I have to have one, I can't wait anymore.
So would you suggest like a ready-to-run vehicle for the first-timer? Because it's fairly inexpensive.
It is fairly inexpensive. You find two different groups of people, though, with this type of thing. You find the guy that used to race and then is getting back into it.
Then he wants the better
and
stuff.
He wants the better one. But for the youngsters, little Jimmy or little
Jane,
they
only need the little ready-to-run
the
stuff.
ready-to-runs,
Yeah,
they're really making some nice
awesome.
ready-to-run stuff nowadays. So I would say trying the rental out and then, going the ready-to-run route can definitely be a great way for a family to get into the RC hobby affordably.
And they usually come with the radio and the transmitter and all that good stuff, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Most of them nowadays even come with a battery and a small charger. So it's you really don't need anything except for the want to go have some fun.
Yeah.
Anything else there, Joe?
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the call. Wonderful, and I guess we'll just continue on a little bit here about the track. We've been open here at the Vegas RC Raceway now for about 8 months, and it's been a wonderful haul so far. Shane's been along for the majority of it here. I think he'd say it's been going pretty well.
Yeah, it's been going really good. I've seen the place from nothing to something now, and nobody really knew about your track in this town at first, and then all of a sudden it hit like a wildfire. Now on the race weekends, on every weekend is a race weekend, so it's Saturday.
Race on Saturdays.
Saturdays. I've seen it go from what we have 30 people at first to now it's like 70 plus people.
Right.
On a
we
Saturday.
Packed the house. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's full of people looking to have a good time.
And you know what's surprising to me is it's all new people. It's not people that have been in the sport for a really long time, and it's a bunch of new people that are new and fresh and had no idea what they were getting into, and then they started racing, and now they love it. It's an addiction for them.
Oh, it certainly is. It's one of those things that we try to do at the Vegas RC Raceway is bring these people in that might just drive them in front of their house, or they have a buddy that they saw in front of their house drive when they come in. They want to know what it's about. Yeah. So we try to bring them in and get them out on the track and show them what organized RC driving and racing is all about.
I've seen a lot of people really timid, like their first time at the track.
For sure.
I've seen them timid to go out, and they're like, oh, I don't want to get in the way. I don't want to smash anybody. But as soon as they do those first couple laps, it seems like they fall right into place. And even if you are the slower guy on the track, it's not a big deal because the faster guys are going to find their way around you anyway. Like,
right?
It
it doesn't seem like there's much to be timid about. Once, like you said, once you get out on the track and you turn a couple laps, the jitters stop. You get a little bit more comfortable, and you fall into a groove.
Do you know the age of the youngest child that plays?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a couple youngsters down there. One of them's 4 years old.
4 years old on the track. 4 years old
on the track. So guys out there with your families, don't you think your child might be just a little too young to come on down to the Vegas RC Raceway? It's definitely not the case. And on the other end of the spectrum, there, as Shane can see, we have people 75 years old up there on the driver's stand as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're 4 or 400. We got a place for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fun for everybody. That is for sure. And a little bit about the racing here, because we are open 7 days a week. The racing is Saturdays at 4, and the families come down. They have a good time. It starts at 4, gets over at about 9:30, depending on the amount of people and the amount of heats or different individual races that we have.
You seem to keep them going pretty well too. Like I've been to some races where they've taken all night long, and the way that you run your show there is pretty phenomenal. It goes pretty fast. You keep on top of everything and make sure everything's happening in the right direction. And I've seen stuff really lag, and every race that I've seen that you've put on has gone. It's very good.
Well, we try to be as fast as possible there, because although people are there to have a good time, they also have a little missus at home.
Sure.
That wants them home. They don't want them crawling through the door at 2 in the morning.
Playing with the cars all night long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are your hours down there? I know that you're open from, 11 to 11
we're open
at night?
7 days a week, 10 in the morning to 11 at night, except for Sundays, which we've been opening up at noon. The missus and I need a little break every once in a while.
Extra hour to get that beauty rest in.
That's right. Sleeping in that extra hour makes me look 10 years younger.
Yeah. You need it, because since you've opened, I've seen you've worked to the maximum, like putting yourself like 1 foot in the grave almost over the shop, and I have seen nothing but it pay off for the best. And you put in a lot of effort, probably one of the most effort that I've seen out of any track owner, especially here in this town.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. People come, they want to spend their hard-earned money, especially in this economy.
Yeah.
The last thing they need is to come down and have a bad time.
Yeah, no, you make sure everybody's happy. Every time I've been there and someone's not having a good day, like, hey, bud, what's wrong with your stuff? How can I help out? And what can I do to fix it? And you always seem to make everyone happy. They leave with a smile on their face every single time.
Well, that's what we try to do. We make it a goal. A lot of establishments, RC establishments, they cater to the experienced guy,
sure,
the guy that knows what he's looking for and that kind of thing. And here at the Vegas RC Raceway, we try to cater to everybody, from the person that doesn't have the slightest idea all the way up to the factory drivers, the guys that do it for a living. It's what we like to do. Moving on here, with the purpose of the show, let everyone know kind of what we have going on here. We're planning on doing quite a few interviews with drivers, pro drivers, industry leaders, some up-and-coming drivers, that kind of stuff. We're going to be doing product reviews, those items that you see on the internet you think might be an awesome buy, but you're not quite sure. We're going to be doing some reviews on those, checking those things out, and we're going to get more into depth on each of these individual subjects here later in the show. Also, tech tips, and this is a great thing to let you guys know. If you guys have any tech tips or ideas, things that you do to make things work just a little bit easier on your RC cars, which I'm sure everyone has a couple little things to make things go smoother.
Everybody has their own way of doing stuff in
That's
this,
right.
in this industry, in the sport.
You'd be surprised, no matter how many genius things you see out.
Somebody's got a different way to do it.
That's right. Someone always has a better way. So if you do, be sure and send us an email at that rcracechat@gmail.com or call in. Again, the number 702-731-1230 or the toll-free number 866-820-5528. Call. Let us know about those things. We'll be sure and put them in the show here. Let everyone know about your wonderful idea. Also, weekly here, we're going to be doing the Vegas RC Raceway race updates, letting you know who the hot drivers on the track are, people who've been working hard, getting consistent. It's something I think will be real great. Also, focus on the family. I'm sure Shane will agree. This is a great feature here. What we're going to be doing is going to be taking people every week from the Vegas RC Raceway, people like Joe who just called in earlier that have children.
Sure.
They're out there, we're going to do a little piece on them, get some information from them, and make sure they get noticed for the great stuff they do for their family, making sure they have a good time out there with the sport. And also, we're going to be doing quite a bit with RC News and RC Events, letting everyone know the new items that are out.
What races are happening.
The races are coming up and all that stuff. It's something that we like to focus on, and that's one thing that we're going to be pushing real hard. Now, as far as interviews go here, I know we definitely have our eye out on some pro drivers that we're going to be interviewing.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Some industry leaders, guys from companies, up-and-coming companies, all that kind of stuff. It's things that are looking to be pretty neat. And it looks like we have another caller on the phone here, Ty.
On the phone.
What's up, guys?
How's
What's
it
up,
going?
Ty? How you doing?
Going good. Just figured I'd call and congratulate you guys on your new show.
Thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a lot, bud. And in case people don't know here, this is Ty LeBaron. He's one of the Vegas RC Raceway team drivers, calling to wish us good luck here. And what are you doing tonight, Ty?
Oh, just hanging out with the family. Just figured I'd call and share my experience with you about the first RC vehicle I ever owned.
Well,
what
let's
was
hear
that?
it.
What was it?
Go figure. It was a Traxxas.
Oh.
And which Traxxas was it?
It was a Traxxas Nitro Rustler.
The Rustler. The Rustler
we
was.
all started with Traxxas.
I think Traxxas is probably one of the main players in this sport. I've just watched the Paula Outdoor Nationals motocross race, and I noticed there was about 30 Traxxas commercials on that thing. And what made you buy your first RC car? What really lit the fire and said, hey, I need one of those things? Did you see it somewhere? Did you see a friend with it, or how did that happen?
I had a friend, one of my good friends in high school, had a Nitro Rustler, and he invited me out to the old Silver Bowl track and says, hey, man, you got to try this. This is a blast. But he was running his Nitro Rustler on their on-road circuit that they have out there. Drove it once, and I think I was at the hobby shop the next weekend. Just stuck.
That's awesome. Now, how long from getting that and getting that going did it take before you started going to some bigger races?
It took about 6 months. We would just do cul-de-sac racing. We'd build our jumps, set up our cones, and whatnot, and then we'd go find empty parking lots, see whose car was the fastest. And we didn't really have no control of the car. We were just learning, left and right. And
I think that's how we all started. I think that's how everybody started.
Yeah, that's
and
everyone's
then,
story.
trying to drive back towards you, it's opposite left and right.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge, and then I'd say about 6 months later, I stopped by Danzy's Hobbies. Used to have an outdoor track over off of Nellis, and I stopped in there one day and paid them to practice on their outdoor off-road track, and I've been hooked ever since. I was out there jumping and just had a blast trying to keep it in between the pipes, and there were probably 15 to 20 racers out there that we could battle with, and come to find out, my my really high tech car wasn't so high tech, and I needed to get something race worthy. And
yeah, that ends up always being the case. They're never quite as awesome as we think they are until we get around other people. So from that car there, what did you move up to?
I moved to the RC10 GT.
There you go. And how did that work out for you?
It was fun. It was the technology in that car was far superior to the old Traxxas stadium truck.
Yeah, you could more adjustments.
It was more race proven, and it was more durable. And then it just went on from there. You know, I mean, I got to race with the likes of a lot of big names in the hobby that, you know, a lot of people have heard. Like, I started racing with Joe Gerzon and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it always is. You know, get around some people that you have a common interest with. You can really get out there and have some fun. Now, I know I see you down here at the Vegas RC Raceway quite a bit, being one of the team drivers with your electric cars. How did you make the switch from nitro to electric?
Yeah, what made you switch?
Nitro to electric. We had an indoor track that just opened, I'd say, in 2005 or 2006.
That was called Cutting Edge Hobbies, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And the nitro scene was starting to fade in Vegas a little bit. The Danzy's track was no longer being ran and maintained. So
it's pretty tough to go outdoors here with the nitro stuff when it's either 25 degrees in the wintertime or 117 in the summertime. It gets tough. You got to have something indoor.
Or then you get the track that turns into a pool because of rain.
Yeah.
And, you look forward to racing all week, and of course it has to rain on Saturday.
Yeah, the weather's always a thorn in the side of the outdoor RC racer.
Yes.
That is for sure. So once you got to the indoor track there with the electric, what was your first electric car?
The very first electric car was a Matt Francis Stadium truck, I believe.
And was that by Losi? That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And how did your racing conquest go with that?
It lasted about a week until I converted over to the Associated Stadium truck.
Had to go AE. Had to go AE.
And once you went Associated there, things turned around for you a little bit, huh?
It was, yeah, at the time it did. I was still a sportsman racer, so I didn't know the difference between the two cars. But, you know, that track had a lot of drivers that supported the Associated cars, and it made it a lot easier for the newbies to come in and run that particular car because you had the support with it. Unlike, you know, at the time we didn't really have much low-C support.
There still isn't. I mean, even 10 years later, there still isn't that much support with that low-C car in this town. And that's sad to see because they make a really good product. And I think that's what you're driving now. You're driving that new low-C 22. And it's just tough. I know that being a pro driver, the expert driver that you are, you don't really go through that many parts because you're not breaking it as much. But the common car to get right now, I think, would be the Associated car because everyone seems to be running something of that nature. And if you had a problem or missing a bolt or a nut or something, somebody else has one. You know, you can always turn to the guy next to you at the track, and he's usually got your back with that kind of stuff. Whereas with that low-C car, it's kind of tough, huh?
Now,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ty.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the product support. You know, when I just did recently venture to the low-C 22 about a month and a half ago. But now, you know, being the different caliber driver that I was, you know, say 6 years ago, I didn't really have to rely on the support at the local track as much because, like you do say, once you get to a different caliber of driving, you wear out the parts before you break them.
Sure.
And then you start learning the knowledge of adjusting. And it just makes it easier to venture off to different brands. There's multiple brands out there in this industry right now. They're unbelievable.
This industry has blown up so much since the introduction of short course. I think RC cars in general, people didn't even know what they were 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, really. Like, people didn't even know what it was about. And now that these little short course trucks that are out, that resemble short course racing, like the Lucas Oil trucks and stuff like that, now that's happened, this sport and everything, the industry in general has blown up so much just because of that short course truck coming out, which is amazing.
I think short course racing, was a shot in the arm for the RC sport when it comes to electric RC car racing. It just blew up the industry.
It did.
It brought in a whole new, different generation of drivers. Besides the people that used to race when they were kids, like Eric said, earlier about his RC10.
Yeah.
Now, it just brought a whole new generation and just different core group of people with these short course, because they see them on TV, then they see them in the local hobby shops, and they got to have it. They're just
that's just it. I think now.
Affordable.
Now we're seeing them on TV, in commercials, in Supercross, in almost. I saw something the other day with NASCAR remote control, like at the NASCAR shows, they're having like a short course extravaganza going on.
See, that's a perfect example. Back at Western RC, Kurt and Kyle Busch used to be there racing RC cars with me.
I heard Kyle was actually, and Kurt was actually a longtime Hobbytown racer.
That's right.
Before they blew it up in real cars, right?
Yeah, so definitely goes, the facet of cars just keeps on moving up.
Yeah.
Now, Ty, what was your first big race that you went to?
The very first big race I went to was the 2004 Silver State Off-Road Championships at Boulder City.
And
Nitro Off-Road Championships.
And what class did you race there?
I raced the Sportsman 110 scale Nitro truck.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, being your first big race, what kind of experience did you have there? Did you go there with some people to help you out, or did you make some new friends along the way?
Yeah, there's a core group of people that we were racing with here in Vegas. I think Shane said, Sin City crew. A lot of those guys still, exist today. We traveled out there with them, and they've been to multiple big races, and they helped me out a lot. But the experience was unbelievable. It was a 4 or 5 day event.
Those events are crazy, aren't they?
Yeah, and then when you go, you see the caliber of drivers. Adam Drake, Richard Saxton, just Jared Tebow, just the guys that you read about in magazines, just to get to the track and watch these guys drive.
And you're running on the same track as them. It's pretty awesome experience. Even me in the beginning, and now it seems like I'm racing with those guys, usually behind them. But even being on the same track with that caliber of driver, you would never think that was ever going to happen.
It's almost like a movie star.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm pretty close with these guys, and I'm driving on the same track as they are, so we're all up against the same thing. And I know that's a big experience to deal with, especially a 4 or 5 day event. I know they get extreme.
I know with with all these pro drivers out there now, and the sport getting a little bit bigger, like you said, with the coming of short course truck and all that, just the influx that we're seeing now between energy drinks sponsoring things.
Big money starting to come into the sport. Big money.
It's spectators are really becoming a big part of the hobby now.
Yeah.
Before, years back when you go to a big race, it was a bunch of guys that knew about the stuff.
And that was all that was there. And
Right.
now you're getting more and more families coming out to watch these events. I think pretty soon it's going to be on TV. It almost is with this live RC stuff that's on the internet now, and you can watch live racing on the internet as it's happening, and every race that's almost like around the world. And that's a good thing that it's starting to come. And as soon as it hits TV, I think this sport's going to take off like a million miles an hour.
Right. Well, I mean, look now it's on the radio.
We're on the radio now. So I mean, what's the next thing from here? Is a TV show or something in the works? I'm sure we'll try to come up with something, or somebody will. And it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen.
Definitely. So Ty, do you have anything else to add about that first race you went to? How'd you fare out?
Actually, I did pretty good. The Sportsman 10-scale truck, I ended up qualifying, I believe, 7th in the A main. And I finished, I think, around 7th in the A main, but it was a great experience. They put you kind of on a podium and introduce you, each driver, as the A main qualifier, and they start from 10th to 1st, and they're announcing in front of everybody, so you're at the attention of everybody. It was a lot of fun. It was a great experience, and
it's pretty crazy to make it into the A main as your first big event.
That had to spoil you, yeah.
I did the same thing here at Silver State when we had it at the Silver Bowl, and I made it both A mains with the gas truggy and the gas buggy, and it was my first time ever making it to an A main like that with that kind of caliber of drivers and stuff, and it was a gnarly experience for me. It really got my blood pumping. I remember in that race, I think it was 30 minutes long or something, and my feet fell asleep because my blood was pumping so hard in my body that I wasn't moving anywhere. So all the blood rushes to the upper part of your body.
Yeah, those nitro mains they can get a little lengthy.
Yeah, it was lengthy for sure. I think our electric stuff is 7 minutes, at 10 maximum.
Right.
And 30-minute nitro main with all that pressure and the noise and the smell and all the sounds that are happening, people yelling at people, really got me going. And it's crazy to qualify close up to the front within the grid. That's a pretty gnarly experience for you.
So after doing so well in your first race there, when you went to your next one, did you go there with a expectation to do as well, and how did you fare out?
Well, I went there with high hopes, and I didn't fare as well. I got brought back to reality real fast.
That can happen in this sport, absolutely.
And it was quite an adventure though, and I continued to race the sportsman classes at a couple of my next big races, and fared to make B mains and stuff like that. But it was with a different type of vehicle because the 10 scale gas trucks seemed to fade out around then. And then we all moved up to a bigger class, which was Nitro A scale. And then once we got up to that aspect of the sport, it just became harder to do good at these races because there's a lot of variables that went into doing well. You had to have pit guys. You had to.
You got to have the right pit guy helping you out. I know that for a fact. And
like Shane said, you've got 30-minute, A mains, and you got to know when to come into fuel.
You got to have a strategy, and you got to work that out between you and your pit man. Some of these mains last an hour, and I know that you better know when you're coming in, or you're going to run out of gas.
Yeah, you can easily ruin your day.
Or you catch your pit man off guard, and you pull into the pits, and he's not ready with any fuel, or doesn't even know you're coming in, and he'll just look up at you like, whoa, you're here. Oh, so usually at that point, you got to stop and go, and
little communication
get it.
goes a long way.
It does.
Now, how did you make the move into the electric racing, and how does it compare for you?
Electric racing, I went back and forth from nitro to electric back to nitro, and then I'm back on my next electric stint right now. It was just the availability of tracks to race at. It seems like when it comes to any outdoor nitro in Nevada, it's been hot and cold. Sometimes the nitro racing's been real busy. Sometimes it dies off. And you just follow the trends, and that's pretty much what I did. I just continued to follow the trends between nitro and electric racing.
Now, following the trends, as you say here, with the LiPo batteries and the brushless motors that came along a few years back, and now the short course, what trend do you see for nitro? Do you think those nitro cars are going to keep moving upwards? Do you think they're going to kind of fall back a little bit while electric takes the limelight?
Well, in the bigger picture, I think nitro is still going to be a big part of the sport. But when it comes for the new people in the hobby, it's going to be a little bit harder to get them into that form of racing because of the expense.
And it takes some knowledge to get to know how to tune a nitro motor and make sure your clutch is working right and all your bearings are good and everything's cool.
Yeah, the electric standpoint is definitely easier to start.
Yeah,
for people.
Electric's plug and go, and make sure your batteries are charged and the batteries on your transmitter are good or your radio, and pretty much just make sure your stuff is working. And you don't need to know a whole lot. You just plug it in and rock it.
So
following the trends over the years, it's quite amazing. Because when I very first started and got my first electric car, we had brushed electric motors.
Yeah, so you can only run them for so long, and your batteries were only good for 5 minutes or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, once I went to the nitro and then came back into the electric, everything changed. Everything that I used to own in electric, I had to throw away because the technology, upgraded. We went to LiPo batteries, which, we go from, like Shane said, 5 minutes of run time to now 25 to 40 minutes of run time. And then same thing with the motors. The motors, we can go out there and run for 30, 40 minutes. And I've had electric motors last me a year or longer.
Yeah, as the years come, things definitely got better as far as quality goes.
I have over 100 hours on my electric motor right now. It's an 8.5 LRP, and that thing is still rocking at the track every day.
Well, that's another thing, for new people that are listening to understand is back, reminiscing back when Ty here on the phone is talking and Shane and I here, back when we got into it, these motors and whatnot, they were one step away from disposable. And now, these things are so reliable that these consumers can really get their money's worth and find that once you have your initial investment, that the money after that is
pretty much good.
Yeah, you're pretty much good to go. Now, Ty, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, you also have a child. Now, is this something that you're looking to get your child into, the sport of RC?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's turning 3 in October, and he's dying to drive. Every time I go to the track and bring him, he says, Corey, drive, and he wants to go up on the driver's stand. I'd say probably around 4 years old, I'm gonna introduce him into actually racing in competitions down at the VRCR and elsewhere where I go. He's getting almost old enough to comprehend what an RC car is and what it does. And yeah, I'm quite excited to be able to share that with him, because when I was growing up, I used to race slot cars with my father, and that was some of the best memories that I had growing up. Is every weekend we were at the slot car track with my father. We'd go down there racing all weekend. And, I kind of like to share that kind of stuff with my own son.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice when you can take something that you did with your parents and it directly correlates over to what you can do now with your children. Like I was talking with Shane earlier and my own experiences. It's really, really neat. Well, thank you, Ty, for calling in. I appreciate that. We're gonna go ahead and keep on pushing. A couple things here, since we were already on the topic about how short courses kind of changed the industry, and this will help some newer guys out, because I know these new people are kind of all directing towards the short course truck as far as the electric RC stuff goes. Shane, how did the RC short course truck kind of change your outlook on what you're doing in the sport?
Well, when the short course truck came out, it really got me involved, I think, a lot more, because I was able to play with it. Like Ty was saying, I mean, we run 30 minutes to 45 minutes, something like that. And with the nitro car, it was tough. And at first I bought the electric short course truck just to take something, to the track, that I had an extra vehicle to take to the track when the nitro stuff wasn't working so good.
And in between, something to mess around with.
Yeah, when I blew up the nitro car or whatever, I had an electric car that I knew that was always going to work, because I just plug it in and it would go. And then it really got me into it, because I wanted to be the best at it. I wanted to try to be really good with it, because I knew it was fresh to the market. It was considered at the time when it came out like the donk kind of class, to where
it was the class that everyone farted around with.
Yeah. They didn't understand it. It was more of a basher type situation if you were running short course. And now it seems to be like that's the hottest thing in the nation. Yeah.
And who would have
even
thought?
Tebow and Cav and all these people, Mayfield, winning at the Nationals with this short course, which was pretty awesome. So all the big pros are in it now. And now with this new 4-wheel drive truck that's out, is
4-wheel short course sure has taken the limelight away. It looks like we have another caller, James, on the phone. How's it going, James? What's up?
James.
Good. How are you guys doing?
All right.
What's going on, bud? You got some experiences you want to talk about?
I wanted to congratulate you guys for making it on the radio.
Right on.
Oh, thanks a lot, bud. Well, now that we got you on the phone here.
Now you're on the radio.
There you go. How did you get into RC racing?
Well, I was pitting for a guy for a big dirt bike race, Vegas to Reno, the long way.
Okay.
And he promised me if I was able to stick it out for the whole 3 days, he'd give me his old double XT low seat.
That's cool.
That was a fair trade,
yeah.
Huh?
Did you even know what an RC car was at that time?
No. I thought it was something that you'd buy at Walmart.
So after you completed your end of the bargain and you got that XX car there, you got it probably in a cardboard box that he had thrown together. What'd you think when you saw that?
I thought it was awesome. It came with 12 batteries, but they only lasted 5 minutes apiece.
Yeah, that's the way it worked back then. Absolutely. And so from there, how long did you own that before you had to move up to something else?
I owned that for about 3 months, and then moved up to an HPI Blitz. So
you went to the short course truck yourself. You saw one of those in a magazine.
Yeah.
Now, what made you buy the short course? Is just my question.
Hobbytown did.
You went to Hobbytown, you saw the races, you saw these people. Why didn't you buy a touring car? Because that's what they usually race at Hobbytown, right? The little on-road touring cars?
I wanted something that I could drive in my backyard.
There you go.
See, and that's it. And that's what's really great. You know, it's the short courses just brought in all these other
facets
that thing
of anywhere.
Racing. And yeah, you can indeed take it anywhere. You know, so these guys that race dirt bikes or whatever, you know, the racing the short course trucks is very, very similar. So then, James, once I see at the track here pretty frequently, you know, now that you've started racing the short course truck, how do you like it? What do you think about it?
I love it, but I love Buggy more.
There you
Buggy.
go. That's right. You've been coming along now. We've been watching you at the track there at the Vegas RC Raceway.
James is one of the kids that I've seen from the beginning of your facility. The kid has come from not so good on the track to now running with the best of us.
Oh, absolutely.
And he is one of the hardest effort working kids in this industry right now. I think he's going to make a huge name for himself if he keeps in the sport.
Oh, absolutely.
I know it's keeping him out of trouble, and I know his mom appreciates him down there at the track. It's staying out of trouble and probably out of her hair too. And even mom, you gave mom the remote the other day, huh?
That's right. Your mom's driving now, huh?
Yeah.
And what do you think about mom racing there? She's racing in the novice class. They're doing pretty good, tearing up the track. How do you feel about mom being up in there, mixing it up with you?
It's fun because it's something that I can do with her because she can't ride dirt bikes with me. So
it gives her something to do. Mama Mona has got something going on with James and her son.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. They're out there.
Mother-son relationship.
That's right.
That's
not
super
just,
cool.
It's
not
not
father-son. Yeah, father-daughter. It's
and I'm sure you'll see here, although she's not quite to the level that you are, James,
she's getting there.
That she's getting there. So this is a sport that even mom and son or grandpa and whoever can do.
Everybody,
and be competitive
everybody
together.
can do it. Everybody can do it. That's
and
awesome.
I know from talking to James at the track here that he's getting ready to go to his first big race. Since we've been talking about this, you're getting ready to go to the Battle at the Beach in Lake Havasu here October 14th, 15th, and 16th. So how are you getting ready for that? How are you preparing for that, James?
I'm practicing. I'm putting in a lot of work, just trying different stuff on my car, talking to other drivers, and looking up videos on YouTube of that track.
Now, do you find that looking on the internet and doing that kind of stuff as a resource, does it help you, or are you just, is it just for fun, or is it a prime source of education that you look on the internet to figure out what to do with your car?
It's a prime source of education because it helps me figure out what I'm going to do to my car, and it helps me figure out what are the conditions going to be like out there. Is it going to be dusty? Is it going to be wet? Or
right. Well, hey, it always pays to know where you're going.
Yeah, and also he's never traveled out of town. I mean, he pretty much grew up at your track. Right?
That's right. Yeah, we've kind of groomed him there at the Vegas RC Raceway.
Yeah, and
one of the many youngsters.
And not only that, there's always traction there, so he's not going to be fighting for it.
Yeah. Some places
your setup's going to change, tires change, this and that. But I think it's going to be a great experience for you to travel, and that's what you need to do to get your name out there and to get known. And I think that's really going to help you out.
Absolutely. Well, James, we're getting towards the end of the show here, our first show, so we're going to have to say goodbye to you. And it looks like we got a minute left, so I'm going to kind of go over this again. After hearing the first show here, if you have some things that you'd like to send us via email, you can do that at rcracechat@gmail.com. Also, as far as listening to the show streamed live on the internet, it's on our Vegas RC Raceway website, which is www.thevrcr.com, so be sure and check that out. Also, Stay tuned for our next show next Tuesday from 7 to 8. We'll keep this going. And Shane, I think we did pretty good this first show here.
Yeah,
what do you think?
We did all right. I think we did okay for having the jitters of being on radio, and I think we did a great job.
I think we did all right. Next week will be a little better.
We'll leave it up to you guys to tell us what's going on.
That's
with
right.
that.
So guys, be sure and call in. Get these calls coming in. We absolutely need them. So take it easy and have a good one, guys. Thanks again for tuning in to RC Race Chat.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Las Vegas, Dollar Loan Center is sponsoring the Oakland Raider games this season during the broadcast on KLAV. And for every touchdown that the Raiders score during the regular season, Dollar Loan Center will donate $100 to Las Vegas' favorite charity, Opportunity Village. Join your community short-term lender, Dollar Loan Center, and make an Opportunity Village donation today. Get more information on making your donation at OpportunityVillage.org or call Dollar Loan Center at 364-LOAN, and they'll help you out. Go Raiders!
Hey there, lovebirds. This is Brian Mills for the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Show. Join me every Wednesday from 3 to 4 right here on KLAV as we talk all things weddings in Las Vegas. We have traditional weddings, Elvis weddings, theme weddings, receptions, helicopter weddings. That's all right here from 3 to 4 on KLAV. The Viva Las Vegas Wedding Show is brought to you by the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel. Check out all their wedding packages on vivalasvegas.com.
Hi, I'm Kim.
And I'm Jill.
And we're the Sin City Spirit Seekers.
We have a show here on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m.
Be there or beware. Join us as we discuss all things paranormal.
Call in live to 731-1230 as we delve into the strange realm of the unknown.
Hi, this is Brad Snyder and Joanna McFarland, new host of the radio program Our House, the Zip Realty radio show, every Wednesday at 11 a.m.
On this show, we will offer you insider tips on what you should know about the real estate market before you make your next purchase or sale. On Our House, we will talk all things real estate, from finding the right house, what loan is right for you, all the way down to home safety and decorations. We may be in Las Vegas, but when it comes to buying or selling a home, it shouldn't be a gamble.
Have your questions answered here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Our House, the Zip Realty radio show.
Ever got your mascara perfect and then your contact lens makes it run all over your face? Sick of reading glasses? Hey, it's me, Stephanie, of the KLAV All About You show. Just taking a minute to remind you, now that I've had LASIK from Dr. Rothman at LASIK of Nevada, I'm seeing 20/15. Ever since I went to Ole Miss in 1987, I had become steadily more and more blind or extremely nearsighted. Now I am seeing better than 20/20. Call 636-2010. Ask if you can have Stephanie Vision or 50% off your LASIK, even if it's premium. 50% off. Feel nervous? Don't be. Dr. Rothman walked me through it. The next thing I know, in about 3 minutes, he says we're done. I will save about $10,000 by not buying contacts for the rest of my life. Call 636-2010. Tell them you want Stephanie Vision half off LASIK. Call 636-2010. That's 636-2010. You'll love Dr. Richard Rothman. I love my LASIK, and you will too.
Every Saturday and Sunday morning at 7:30, it's Vegas Track Talk with Patrick McQuiggan. Or should I say, handicapper extraordinaire Patrick McQuiggan. He and his stable of handicappers are picking winners on Vegas Track Talk every Saturday and Sunday morning, 7:30.
Now there's a show just for managers, professionals, and executives. This is Doug Pilarski, host of the Talent Managers Journal radio show. We'll be talking about all aspects of leading and managing people in business. We ask the question, what are you doing with all that talent? Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. and enjoy Talent Managers Journal, brought to you by Sawyer TMS, only on AM 1230 KLAV.
Nebraska football returns to KLEV, and you can follow the Huskers throughout the 2011 season. On game days, join me, Gary Bowden, 1 hour before the kickoff for the Cornhusker Countdown Show. Co-hosts John Bishop and Al Makowitz check in from Nebraska to give our listeners an exclusive 30-minute program that features news and views on the Huskers, plus an overview of their upcoming opponent. Following Cornhusker Countdown, stay tuned as we join the Husker Sports Network for more pregame programming, all leading up to the game and the play-by-play broadcast. So make KLAV your Husker headquarters.
Hey, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers for RAD. I'm here to remind you that drunk drivers are still a major killer of young adults in this country. So always choose a designated driver, and remember, music lives, you should too.
Getting born in the state of Mississippi, Papa was a copper and the mama was a hippie.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Love us on radio, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. We are KLAV 1230 AM.
You're listening to KLAV Las Vegas.